You go into this one and you look at it, and yes, Manchester City doing great things, so they should be beating Manchester United when you look at the table. But again, it is a derby, and you just can't think of it as a normal game. Well, it's different in a way that Manchester United in the last few derbies have been living with City, who just prior to that had their kind of golden era in terms of just getting the better of United in derbies and expected to win. That's, obviously since the Abu Dhabi money came in, Manchester City have grown from strength to strength to strength, whereas, years ago United were always expected to win. We saw it last season, 2-0 down at half-time, Manchester United at the Etihad. End of last season, City looking to win the league and rub United's noses in it, and somehow United came back, found the best 45 minutes of the season to turn it on its head and win a derby, which was mind-blowing really from the United side that was pretty much all over the place. So incredibly hard to read. That's what makes it so fascinating, and that's why there'll be such an incredible global audience for this game. I think anyone growing up in the era of Liverpool dominance, United fans growing up in that, particularly Mancunian Reds, if you like, with the cities being so close and the rivalries and everything else, Liverpool would always be the enemy. Liverpool will always be the enemy, and that probably will never ever change, even though Liverpool obviously in the past 20 odd years haven't been anywhere near United in terms of success. Liverpool will always be, because it's a different city as well, a different kind of rivalry to a Mancunian derby rivalry. But yeah, Man City fans have always had a slightly edgier look to it than United. But now, obviously, over time, these things will change. And City being a dominant force, winning hearts and minds, maybe with kids coming through now and young kids being blue, whereas traditionally they might have been red. Again, it changes the dynamic. So it's really interesting times anyway in the city.
Now here, I am a manager to play this kind of games. Of course, I love to play a lot of games, but play Champions League and play these kind of games in the bigger stages, in important games, is fascinating for us. That's the reason why we're here, and I will enjoy it, and I will enjoy it.
Ever since they both landed at the same time, obviously Mourinho turned up at Manchester United, and post Louis van Gaal, and Guardiola turning up post Pellegrini, and again, we're all like this in the press. Whoa, here we go, these two together. This is going to kick off. It's going to be great. It's going to be constant verbal warfare, whatever. We weren't, we were anticipating far too much, because both men have tried to play all of that down, whatever rivalries gone back from Spain, play it down completely. And it's just trying to let the teams do the talking. So there hasn't been any of that. There hasn't been any of the kind of silliness potentially that we thought we might get in technical areas and all the rest of it. So the two men have just both kind of stated, well, no, there's no problem. We're just getting on with our jobs and we're getting on with our lives, and what's the big deal? So Jose is a master of deflecting attention when he needs to.
3 premierships, and I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together. 3 for me and 2 for them. Respect, man, respect.
He feels that he doesn't have what they have in terms of the financial resources, but again, both have had lots to play with, and the lack of class stuff and all the rest of it. I mean, it's just part of the makeup of Mourinho. He'll do whatever it takes to try and get an edge, and that's just part of the secret of his success, I suppose. He'll always look for those little angles to try and irritate or antagonise if it's going to give his side and his team an edge. Well, both managers would say nothing's going to be decided in the Manchester derby, at the start of November. So whatever happens, nothing is going to be decided. That said, Jose Mourinho has said he expects United to be in a much better position by the end of December. He's basically agreed that means top 4, and when you're top 4 you can talk about title race. So Manchester United cannot afford to lose any distance at all. If they're to get in the top 4, and then United can start, or Mourinho says then you can start thinking, well, is the title race, is it still alive? At the moment it's not, because they're not in the top 4, and that's his thinking on that. So they can't afford to lose ground. City, likewise, don't want to lose any ground, because they want to sit at the top where they are now and stay there and keep going. They've got all sorts of other distractions as well. Carabao Cup, the FA Cup will start in January. There's Champions League as well. So the more kind of leverage he has, the more the points in the bag, obviously from Pep's point of view, with clubs like Liverpool not far away and Chelsea, then the better. But again, it's not going to be the be all and end all. Let's face it, where are they going to be if they lose? Still right up there.